listen,
Maze is getting a 6.4. I think it's a 6.4 right now on
I
Metacritic.
was seeing like
right?
7s and stuff.
here's the thing. If a lot, it's very mixed reviews, but I think across the board, people are disappointed. I think Dumpster Fire is a little bit too much. I'll reserve that for other games, but I think it's in that same breath of Forspoken. I really do. You know,
That's a fair one.
a game that had
I would
high,
say,
yeah.
yeah. I think that's more fair. Dumpster Fire would be like implying it was Cyberpunk.
Yes. I don't think it's cyberpunk levels, but I think it is very bad. I did know some outlets gave this VGC, an outlet that I use quite often to kind of look up video game news. They gave it an 8 or yeah, they gave it, I believe, 4 stars, 4 out of 5. And Xbox.
Look, here's the thing. I think this is definitely going to be one of those games where it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Don't go in thinking this is some blockbuster hit that's going to revolutionize Game Pass and make it a must-need for everyone. I think it's just something, if you enjoy co-op shooters that have like a looter aspect to them, kind of like a Borderlands with upgradable equipment, I think this is up your alley. If it's not something you're interested in, I don't waste your time.
So
I don't think it's necessarily bad.
Well, let's kind of dive into this, because I think this is kind of one of the biggest stories this week, and then we can kind of dive into some. I know we kind of said we're going to go into some Nintendo stuff. We'll talk about that in a little bit, and then some games of the week coming out and what we're playing. I know I've been playing some games, and I know Billy, you've been playing some other games that we need to talk about. But specifically Star Wars. But let's talk about Redfall. So Redfall, it's a game by Arcane. I believe Arcane Lyon in France. I could be wrong about this one.
I thought it was Arcane Austin.
Is it Arcane Austin?
I believe it's Arcane Austin.
Regardless, it's by Arcane. And maybe Arcane Lyon made Deathloop. But regardless, it's by Arcane, which is a Microsoft-owned studio now because it's under the Bethesda umbrella, which was bought by Microsoft. This was a game that came out on May 2nd, so it came out today as of this recording, and it released kind of at like 8 p.m. On May 1st. Things started to kind of trickle out. This game had a very weird review embargo. A lot of people were relating it to other Bethesda games in the past or Arcane games in the past, but that's not really quite true. Some had, a day, some had 3 days, some had a week. But this one was very odd because it was literally right at release time. It was day and date. So as soon as this releases, release embargo, done. And there was kind of some things that were trickling out. I think a lot of people, I saw, ACG tweeted something out early in the day yesterday, and things started to kind of go throughout the day that this game wasn't a very good game. And lo and behold, all these reviews came out. Billy, I think you said it perfectly. This game is rocking, I think, a 64 on OpenCritic or Metacritic. And that's pretty much where we stand. So, Billy, I'm going to give it off to you, and then we're going to go to Maze. Bill, what do you think about this?
Yeah, it's disappointing to hear. I think, of the reviews that are up there so far, it's pretty clear. It's like, it's going to hover around the 64, like 65. Like it's not doing very well. I trust most of these reviewers. Like ACG is a pretty reliable reviewer. Noisy Pixel
gave it a 4. Yeah.
Gave it a 4. One thing that we want to talk about too is like, I think there was just some confusion too with when the embargo was, as you said. And that's probably why it wasn't clear, maybe from either the marketing team or how it got lifted, how Noisy Pixel posted it in a 4, like way before the embargo lifted, a couple, like, what was it, like 12 hours before. And that sent up red flags.
Yeah, they did the they Noisy Pixel and ACG tweeted out their items or put out their videos that they did the 12 hours before because they thought it was like 11 a.m. but it was actually 11 p.m. and all sorts of kind of miscues there.
Yeah, so I don't know whose fault that is. They're probably going to get to the bottom of it, and if it's, I don't think that they're probably, like, Microsoft will probably have to come out and say, hey, we messed up the embargo date, or these guys are on blast for sending it out early and giving a bad light, to the game before it was lifted. Doesn't change the fact that the game is kind of in a rough state right now. From what I've heard across the internet right now, I haven't played the game, so I can't give my take on it. But it's a pretty bare bone game. Kind of the direction for the game is kind of up in the air right now, like of where exactly these guys want to go with this one. And it seems rushed. A lot of open environments with not a lot of stuff in there. They say it's a really not a fun game to play at all if you are playing single player mode, which is this game does have a single player mode. They said multiplayer is better, but there's a lot of issues in the multiplayer as well, where, if you're playing, I found this fascinating. If you are playing in a lobby system, only the person who creates and is the host actually has progress saved. So everyone else that is playing the game, they have to re-enter the lobby of that said host if they want to continue the story.
Yeah, but do they level up?
They do, but it doesn't go with them unless if they're with the host.
Oh, so it doesn't pertain to that character that the host holds all the data.
That doesn't sound right.
Yeah, the host holds all the data.
No, that sounds more like I have a feeling this is more like a Monster Hunter or Monster Hunter World where
that's what it seemed like.
Yeah,
yeah.
The leveling system
I can't imagine that because a lot of games do that where someone hosts a game and then your level progress is linked to their account, so you have to be playing with them, which a lot of games do that.
Where it becomes a problem is that, say if you have so your level system is going up, but if you want to continue the story on your end, say if I'm playing with the three of us are playing, Maze is not available that night, I can't just start the game on my end and play where we left off. Like I would have to go back and play like the other stories.
It's annoying, but I've seen that before.
That's not an uncommon mechanic. I've seen that in plenty of co-op games. To be perfectly honest, I can see where that would be annoying to some people, but personally, I wouldn't use that as a negative, just because if I'm going to start this with someone, I plan to finish it with them. So if they're not available, I'm not playing that night.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't play a lot of co-op games. I was just relaying what I've heard, and I know that's something that people are concerned about, because it's
that's not a weird mechanic. Now, if you tell me that their character profile is also linked to said save state under whoever the host is, then that's an issue. If that is indeed the case, but if it's strictly just the level, like where you are in the game story, a nuisance, I guess, to some, but to those who are, veterans of co-op online shooters like this style, not unheard of.
Yeah, I think going off of that though, Maze, let's talk about your takes on this, because you were somebody that I know that you're still going to play this. You talked about still playing this. For all accounts purposes, game came out yesterday. I haven't played it, and I'm choosing not to play it. And the reason why, and that's probably oh, well, why can't you talk about this? Well, I think it's obvious. We've all seen gameplay. It's kind of interesting to talk about. It's the biggest thing in gaming right now. But on top of that too, I'm going to hold off from playing this for a couple months. And the only reason why is kind of a little backstory. Is one thing that a lot of people said was really bad about this game is there's brain dead AI in this game when it comes to kind of some of the enemies that you face. And this is kind of more the shocking part, is this was a similar thing that happened with Deathloop. I played Deathloop literally on launch day, and one thing that kind of kept on getting patched in over and over and over again was, for the first couple patches, was better AI for the enemies. So I'm kind of waiting a couple months on this one. I'm fingers crossed. I'm massively disappointed. In fact, I'm almost kind of, very sad today and yesterday, because this is a game I've been looking forward to, and I can't play it, or I can play it, but I'm deciding not to because of the state that it's in. But Mace, you said you're going to tough through this to play with one of your friends. What's your kind of thoughts on all this?
I mean, I'm not going to immediately jump in. I think the lukewarm reviews so far have kind of dulled my excitement for it a bit. I will still check it out. I will definitely do it the co-op way because that is the way to experience from what I'm reading. But
Mm-hmm.
looking through the reviews, it's a very mixed bag. From some who did think it was, some who loved it, to those who was like, okay, it's an all right game, to downright, this is terrible. But to me, when I see that, it seems like this is a game where you need to decide, is this your cup of tea or is it not? Now, for me, it is. I enjoy a good online co-op shooter. It's much like Left 4 Dead, Back for Blood, but with a aspect kind of like Borderlands, where it's like a leveling loot system. And each character has unique abilities. So whoever you play with, you'll get a different playthrough and different abilities that you unlock as you level up. So something that interests me, and it's co-op. So I will check it out. It's going to take me probably some time, just like Tim, because right now there's too many other games out there that I want to play that we will get to soon with Jedi and Tears of the Kingdom coming out in a couple of weeks, on top of every other DLC that's out there. But I'm going to keep an open mind with this game. I'm going to leave my decision to when I finally do play it. I'll take a lot of the reviews with a grain of salt because it's really a mixed bag. It's not like an outright badly reviewed game that you should avoid. So I think you need to kind of just decide if it's something you want to experience, and if so, give it a shot. Especially if it's on Game Pass.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think you really have much to lose in that regard, because if you have Game Pass, you're already playing other games, you check it out. If it's not your cup of tea or you don't think it's that great after you've tried it out for a few hours, you really didn't lose anything. It's not like you went out and bought a physical copy and now you're stuck with it.
Yeah. And
yeah, I don't know. I can kind of disagree with that. Like, I think that I think on Game Pass it's one thing. If you have Game Pass, then absolutely. Same thing how I felt with Forspoken. You know, this game is retailing at $70 at Best Buy. You know, it's like you can't release a game in the state and charge people $70 for this game. I'm calling it how it is. I think that's bad. I think it's bad business to do that. And like and you know, it's like it could be a good game in the future. That's fine. But as it stands right now, reviews are out. Jury's out. It's getting below a 65. It's not a good game.
Yeah.
As of now.
And once again,
but it's a mixed bag.
I mean, that's not a mixed bag. It's a 65. It's
well,
like
you have to get to a 65, but somehow there are positive, there's mediocre, there's negative.
Maze is right. There's fewer them.
Well, would you guys say the same thing for Forspoken? Because it has a higher score.
Forspoken was all there wasn't. I didn't really see many high reviews, but I'll say this.
I will admit, in regards to that,
it's the same bag.
But I will admit, it's a little bit easier to digest this one because, again, Game Pass, you could literally go buy a month for $15, play this game, find out you don't like it, and then go play something else on there.
I totally get that, but the thing is, the game is valued at $70. It's a $70
game that
it's a AAA first party Xbox exclusive game. All right,
now,
that's crazy.
Now let me kind of finish this up. I think one thing to kind of be said is that this game is, I think the one problem that I do have is, I think at the end of the day, people still made this game. I think it's kind of sad online. Most of the stuff I was seeing yesterday was people laughing in the face of you know, and granted, Xbox gamers do the same thing to PlayStation, but at the end of the day, people made this game, and you know, I hope it comes out great. I never hope for a game to fail, regardless of what side you're on, PlayStation, Xbox, or PC, or whatever. I always like to see a game do great, because that means more people get to play, that means more people get to game, all this other stuff. So I'm always on the you know, we have our allegiances for console wars and whatnot. You know, I'm more of a Xbox guy this generation than Billy is. I just went into the dark. Honey, can you turn the light on? Thank you. We're back.
Back from the Shadow Realm.
We're back from the Shadow Realm. But I'll say this. That was kind of disappointing. And I'm with Bill. I think the other thing too is, I think we are also if I was harsh on Forspoken, then I got to be harsh on this. This is a game just as similar, even though I just said, yeah, there was some positive reviews, but at the same time, Billy's right. The game is still rocking around the same score, and it's still a $70 game at retail. So there's no
But I
excuse.
don't even think you can throw the 70. I'll just say I don't even think you can throw that as a negative anymore, just because that just seems to be the status quo for the industry now. It's not like it's just Xbox doing $70 retail for first party content.
Yeah, but this is the first. This is the first game that Microsoft has released.
No,
at $70.
I get that.
So
But I get that. But everyone's doing it. It's not like they're alone. And all of a sudden, they're the first ones to do it.
Maze, their justification of raising the price to $70 was because they needed more time and more quality games. Like it takes.
But everyone's
longer.
raising the price too now.
But that defeats the purpose. It's like a less quality game. It's like this game.
The same thing was said for Forspoken. So
it's identical situation. I think it's like you have to hold their feet to the fire. It's like it sucks. It's not the devs' fault. They just needed more time. I think this game is a good game. It was released too early.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have released in this state.
And once again, this is a game it still intrigues me a lot. So I'm probably with Maze. I might give this game 2 or 3 months, maybe even 3 or 4 months, and then jump back in once everything's kind of patched. I was thinking of, certain games. I've done this in the past with games that have been patched. And I think other people, there's certain games, like look at Assassin's Creed Unity. That game came out looking like complete horrible. And, it got patched. And I think a lot of people didn't give it its time of day because of that. And that's something I fear with this one, that could be the same thing. And you know what? To many people, that's completely their right, because this game did burn a lot of people. Look at Fallout 76. I was burned. I know that game is good now, but the game itself burned me, and I'm not going to go back out of spite. So for me, luckily, I didn't pay for it. And, luckily, like Billy was saying, I didn't pay the $70. If I paid the $70 and got this, I would have been pissed.
Thanks for listening to VGP. Make sure you subscribe to the show. Also, follow VGP on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at A Video Game Podcast.